It is the 1950s. In New York, a Soviet secret agent blends in with the crowd. He becomes an ordinary citizen and poses as an amateur painter. His artist friends know him as Emil Goldfuss. FBI agents tracking him know him by his code name, Mark. The world will soon know him as Colonel Rudolph Abel. In fact, he is none of the above. He is a shrewd, inventive actor whose most demanding role is master spy. New York City, 1950. A time of prosperity, conformity, and anti-communism. Unemployment is low, the crime rate is low, and the average salary is $3,000 a year. New York is America's most densely populated city, with 8 million people, a city easy to get lost in. Early in 1950, a slender, balding, middle-aged man arrives on New York's Upper West Side. He rents a small, furnished apartment at 216 West 99th Street. He tells his landlord that he's a retired photographer. It is a cover. He is actually a Soviet spy. Name, William Fisher, soon to become known to the world as Colonel Rudolph Abel. Born 1903 in England, of Russian immigrant parents. His father becomes an avid communist. In 1921, after the Russian Revolution, the family moves back to the Soviet Union. Fisher serves in the Red Army, and in 1927 joins the NKVD, Soviet Secret Police. In World War II, he works in counterintelligence and recruits German double agents. Fisher marries Yelena Lebedeva, and they have a daughter, Evelina. He is a devoted father. In late 1948, Fisher crosses the Canadian border into the United States. His passport reads Emil Goldfuss, an identity he has stolen. The real Emil Goldfuss was an American who died in infancy in 1903. New York City. His mission, reorganize the Soviet espionage network in the United States, replace agents who are no longer useful, and prepare the spy network for war. 1950 is a critical year in the Cold War. The Soviets have just terrified the West by detonating their first atomic bomb. America's nerves are raw. How did the Russians get the bomb?
Covering up communists and traitors, not dead ones, but live ones.
U.S. Senator Joseph McCarthy warns of communist conspiracies, and many believe him. Suspicion is in the air. It's a dangerous time for spies. Yuri Sokolov was Emil Goldfuss's KGB controller. He refers to him as Abel.
Personal meetings with agents, face-to-face contact became much more dangerous. The solution was this. We decided to pass them on to an illegal agent. An agent of ours that had no official cover and was a citizen of the country. The illegal agent chosen for this role was Abel.
The illegal agent spends several months studying the transportation systems of New York City. He gets to know the city, becomes familiar with various neighborhoods, learns how to move about quickly, and unobtrusively. Emil Goldfuss also looks for the best places for dead drops, secret hiding places where agents can leave coded messages for each other. A park bench on Riverside Drive in West 104th Street. In the Symphony Theater on Broadway and West 95th Street. Under a carpet in the balcony. A fence around the Museum of Natural History. Each drop is numbered. The metal fence at 86th Street and Central Park West is used to signal which drop contains a message. A chalk mark on the first post means a message in drop number 1, and so on. While living on the Upper West Side, Goldfuss is ordered to take over the Soviet atomic spy network operating from New York. It is his top priority. He is in contact with an American communist couple named Morris and Lona Cohen. Goldfuss is a frequent dinner guest at their East 71st Street apartment. The Cohens are major figures in the Soviet spy ring, stealing atomic bomb secrets from the Los Alamos laboratories in the New Mexico desert. This spy ring must now report to Emil Goldfuss, later known as Rudolf Abel.
We took the opportunity of passing these agents on to Abel, and then they contacted only him. They were able to work safely and quietly. Then, depending on the opportunities, Abel would pass the information on to me directly or through some other channels.
Julius and Ethel Rosenberg are members of the same network. Suddenly, in June of 1950, the Rosenbergs are arrested. It sends a shockwave through Soviet intelligence. The atomic spy ring has been compromised. Goldfuss helps the Cohens escape from New York. Toward the end of 1953, the KGB agent adds yet another dimension to his false identity. Still using the name Emil Goldfuss, he rents an artist studio at 252 Fulton Street in Brooklyn. As a painter, Goldfuss is a hard-working amateur whose intellect and charm attracts a group of serious young artists. The artists accept him as a likable older man who paints with more feeling than ability. A lively friendship develops between the Soviet spy master and a young painter named Bert Silverman.
His composure was very appealing, and his sense of directness. And there was a kind of a quality about him that it's hard to describe in words, but he seemed to be someone you could know and believe. There was no cant about him. There was no posturing. His responses to questions were simple. There was a sense of even boyish enthusiasm. I mean, there's nothing he did that was espionage-like.
Silverman paints several portraits of his new friend. Ironically, in one of them, Goldfuss's shortwave radio is an important element in the composition. No one suspects that he is a spy. Emil Goldfuss's cover works perfectly. Everything is going well until the master spy gets a message that will change his life. Moscow is sending him an assistant. October 1952, New York City. At the Tavern on the Green restaurant in Central Park, a white thumbtack appears on a sign near the bridle path, a signal that the man who will later become Emil Goldfuss's assistant has arrived safely in America. Name, Rhino Heihanen. Age, 35. Major in the Ministry for State Security. A specialist in recruiting informers and interrogating prisoners. Codename, Vic. Like Goldfuss, he has stolen a dead man's name. His passport and driver's license identify him as Eugene Maki. Heihanen's KGB controller operates under diplomatic cover at the United Nations. He is Mikhail Svirin. The FBI has him under surveillance. Heihanen moves into a furnished room in a rundown area of Brooklyn. His English is poor. He becomes disoriented, unable to cope with the hectic world of New York City. Heihanen also has a serious weakness, his heavy drinking. In Brooklyn, he becomes an alcoholic and finds security in vodka. Between drinks, he performs simple tasks as a courier for his Soviet controller, Svirin. Soon, his spy masters become disenchanted with Heihanen. FBI agent Larry McWilliams, who later worked on the case.
He was a pretty poor spy. He was incapable, because of his drunkenness more than anything else, I suspect, that he just couldn't carry out assignments that were given to him.
Instead of finding work and building his cover as an American, Heihanen stays idle most of the time, drinking heavily and drifting from one rundown Brooklyn neighborhood to the next. The next move is to the town of Peekskill in New York's Westchester County, north of the city. Heihanen's wife joins him. The neighborhood changes, but not the lifestyle. The drinking continues. Neighbors complain. Empty bottles and beer cans pile up under the house. Garbage collectors refuse to pick up his trash. August 1954. The KGB decides it is time for him to meet his new controller, Emil Goldfuss. Perhaps Goldfuss can straighten him out. Heihanen will know him only by his code name, Mark. Heihanen meets his new boss in the men's room at this movie theater in Flushing, the Queens section of New York City. They despise each other on sight.
Heihanen intensely disliked Emil. He always used to say he thinks he's so important. He tries to tell me he can do all of these things. He's an engineer, he can speak different languages, and he can draw, and so on. I don't believe him. I think he's a big liar.
Emil Goldfuss, alias Mark, is angry. After 2 years in the U.S., Heihanen can barely speak English and has no job. He finally agrees to open a camera shop as his cover. Goldfuss takes Heihanen to his Brooklyn studio to pick up the photo equipment for the new shop. It is a critical mistake. Now Heihanen knows where to find him. In June 1955, Goldfuss travels to Moscow on leave to visit his wife and newly married daughter. The spy master complains to Moscow Central about his incompetent assistant. Moscow agrees that Heihanen should be recalled, but warns Goldfuss to be careful. In the fall of 1956, Heihanen gets an order he hoped never to hear. Return to Moscow for a vacation and a promotion. Heihanen is terrified. He stalls as long as possible and then finally sails for France. He knows Mark is getting rid of him. He has failed in his assignment. He faces a grim reckoning at home. In Paris, he meets a Soviet contact and picks up a ticket to Moscow. But he never gets there. Instead of taking a plane to the Soviet Union, Heihanen takes a taxi to the American embassy and defects. May 1957. Heihanen is back in Brooklyn, this time in the custody of the FBI. The search is on for his one-time boss, the Soviet spy he knows only by the code name Mark. FBI counterintelligence agents move the defector into a Brooklyn Heights hotel. They discover that Heihanen will not talk if he is sober. Agent McWilliams.
His drinking was incessant. He was just impossible to control in the circumstances that we had to control him in without feeding him drink. So every day of the week, he had his quota of vodka.
Heihanen does not know Mark's address, but he has seen the studio. He spends days with FBI agents driving the streets of Brooklyn, looking for the building.
Now, I don't know how many trips they made down to Brooklyn with him in the car trying to spot what building it may be, and all of a sudden one day he says, "That's the building." And it turned out to be 252.
The FBI converges on 252 Fulton Street and the neighborhood around it. Agents station themselves on the rooftops of nearby buildings. And on benches in a park across the street. An FBI artist creates a likeness of the colonel based on Heihanen's description. Suddenly, the man in the drawing is there, within range of FBI surveillance cameras. June 12, 1957, the FBI gets a break. As agents watch the building from nearby rooftops, on an upper floor, a light is turned on. The agents see a middle-aged man moving about the studio leased to Emil Goldfuss. Once Goldfuss leaves the building, FBI agents follow him to the Court Street subway. They ride with him to 28th Street and Broadway in New York. His distinctive straw hat makes him easy to track. They shadow him as he enters the Latham Hotel. The FBI learns that he is registered under the alias Martin Collins in room 839. Agents spend the night in the room across the hall, monitoring the spy's movements. At 7 a.m. on June 21st, they cautiously approach the spy's room and knock on his door. Goldfuss answers. He is composed, polite, and reveals nothing. The agents arrest him and take him away in handcuffs. The FBI searches the hotel room and also Goldfuss's cluttered Brooklyn studio. They find the usual espionage equipment, like a radio receiver, and KGB broadcast schedules. But they also find a bonanza of handcrafted spy tools made by Abel. A hollow nickel used to carry microfilm messages, bolts meticulously crafted to also conceal microfilm, and hollow gold-plated cufflinks. FBI interrogators try to turn him, persuade him to become a double agent. The spy refuses. He says he is Colonel Rudolf Abel of the GRU, Soviet Military Intelligence, and a Soviet citizen. He demands to be deported to Russia. New information reveals that the spy is not Rudolf Abel at all. The real Rudolf Abel was a close friend of his in the KGB, who recently died. Using that name as a signal to Moscow Center that he will not cooperate with the Americans. He will not talk. October 14th, 1957, Brooklyn Federal Courthouse. Abel's trial becomes a national media event, a front-page story. The press lies waiting as the spy is led through the crowd. Abel faces a possible death sentence if convicted. Only 3 years earlier, the Rosenbergs were executed for espionage. Just one witness testifies that the colonel is a spy, his treacherous assistant, Rhino Heihanen. He has dyed his fair hair black and added a mustache and dark glasses for his court appearance. According to Heihanen, Colonel Abel is a KGB illegal resident, a senior Soviet intelligence officer who runs a network of secret agents. The colonel, now known to the world as Rudolf Abel, never testifies. After 11 days, the jury adjourns, and a few hours later reaches its verdict: guilty of conspiracy to commit espionage. Defense attorney James Donovan argues that America may want to use Abel in a future spy trade with the Soviets. The judge agrees and spares Abel's life. He is sentenced to 30 years in prison. Reino Heihanen vanishes after the trial. 4 years later, he is rumored killed in a car crash, but there are no records of such an accident. His fate remains a mystery. June 1958, the federal prison in Atlanta, Georgia. Its newest inmate is Colonel Rudolph Ivanovich Abel. The convicted spy becomes a model prisoner. He continues his painting and learns the art of silkscreen processing. He produces hundreds of Christmas cards for the inmates. He does not believe he will ever leave prison, but his luck will soon change. Moscow, 1962. Rudolph Abel is now home. After 4 years in prison, he has been exchanged for American U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers. Abel becomes an elder statesman and is awarded the coveted Order of Lenin. He writes and lectures for the KGB, and in 1971 retires. A few months later, he dies of lung cancer. He was 68 years old. A special medallion is issued honoring him as Colonel Rudolph Ivanovich Abel. In a final irony, the spy who stole other men's names in life has his own name restored to him in death. His tombstone reads, William Genrikovich Fisher, and beneath that, in small letters, Rudolph Abel. And now, Spies presents House of Spies, the story of the top Soviet agent in Cold War England and the husband and wife team who secretly help him spy for the KGB. London, 1960, a majestic backdrop for secret meetings between a master spy and his KGB controller. A telephone booth, a short ride on a train, a pub outside London where top secrets are compromised, the secrets of British nuclear submarine technology. Counterintelligence agents watch the spies and trace them to this innocent-looking house, which turns out to be a house of spies. England, 1960. 45 Cranley Drive. It looks like an ordinary suburban London home. In fact, it's the center of a major Soviet spy ring. A frequent visitor to this house passes himself off as a successful Canadian businessman. He is, in fact, the top KGB illegal agent in Great Britain. Name, Conan Molody, known in Britain as Gordon Lonsdale, codename Ben, age 38. Born in Moscow, the son of a prominent Russian scientist, Molody is sent to California at an early age, where he masters the English language. He returns to the Soviet Union during World War II and joins Soviet intelligence. The KGB slips Molody into Canada in 1954 to establish his cover. He obtains the birth certificate of the deceased Gordon Arnold Lonsdale. Under that name, he acquires a Canadian passport. The new Gordon Lonsdale enters Great Britain in 1955. His assumed identity allows him to blend in with the population, to move about freely, unlike other spies who operate under diplomatic cover. In espionage terms, Lonsdale is known as an illegal agent. He leases the 6th floor apartment in this building near London's Regent's Park. Lonsdale sets himself up in business with KGB funds, leasing and selling jukeboxes, creating a cover for the real work of espionage. In London, Lonsdale's introduction to his KGB contact is extremely intricate and is typical of KGB scenarios. Lonsdale's KGB controller, General Vasily Dostolev, describes that meeting.
There were strict orders from headquarters as to how to arrange the meeting. He was our most important underground agent, and everything possible was done to protect him.
Inside a smoky London cinema, Lonsdale goes to the last row and finds a note taped under seat number 11. He then goes to another cinema, the Odeon, and leaves a reply confirming the next day's meeting with his KGB contact. Lonsdale's instructions take him to Regent's Park, where he looks for a saxophone player. The musician is facing east, which means Lonsdale should enter the second telephone booth. He opens the telephone book to page 17, where a thin line scratched under the second-to-last name indicates the number he must call. He dials the number, and hearing an answer says, "I'm sorry, I seem to have the wrong number." This indicates Lonsdale is ready for the meeting. His KGB contact walks to a train station not far from the Soviet embassy. He enters the last car of the train to avoid being shadowed from behind. At the next station, Lonsdale gets on the same car. Visual contact is established. Nothing more. Both men travel to Ealing, an old London suburb not far from the center of the city. In Ealing's large park with its broad green lawns, on one of the park benches, the two Soviet secret agents Lonsdale and Dostolev finally meet.
Я вам скажу так. Вы посмотрели бы на Лонсдейла.
I wish you had the opportunity to meet Lonsdale.
Я видел его.
Do you think you would have been able to recognize him as a spy?
Это раскованный.
I was never able to tell. He was so relaxed, it made me nervous. He had a great sense of humor. He was always smiling. He seemed to be a courageous and confident individual. He loved jokes. His work was concerned with a very important target, the Submarine Research Center at Portland Royal Naval Base.
It is the height of the Cold War. The nuclear arms race is underway. The Soviet Union has developed powerful rockets that can deliver heavy payloads. The West counters with a dangerous new strategic weapon, nuclear-powered submarines armed with Polaris missiles. The Soviet Union is desperate to catch up. Its method? Espionage. It urgently needs data on the latest advances in underwater submarine noise detection and the secrets of noise suppression, known as silent running. Of particular interest to the KGB is the Dreadnought, Britain's first nuclear submarine, designed and stationed at the Portland Royal Naval Base. Lonsdale's mission: establish contacts inside the naval base to secure this top-secret information. To penetrate the tightly guarded research center, Lonsdale recruits two agents who work at the base: Harry Houghton, age 50, and his mistress, Ethel G., age 41. Both are clerks at the underwater weapons establishment with access to sensitive classified documents. The spies meet in pubs and cafes near the naval base. They exchange military secrets for cash. Then Lonsdale drives to a quiet neighborhood in the working-class suburb of Ruislip, to the house at 45 Cranley Drive. In London, KGB agent Gordon Lonsdale is a busy man. He has a regular rendezvous with Houghton on the first Saturday of every month. They usually meet in pubs. There is a clever, subtle exchange of messages or briefcases, and Lonsdale disappears. The secret meetings continue every month, like clockwork. After his meetings, Lonsdale reports to the house at 45 Cranley Drive. Inside live 2 Russian-trained professional spies. Name, Peter Kroger, born in New York City, a former school teacher. Cover, dealer in rare books. His wife, Helen Kroger, a self-educated Polish-American who worked as a governess for a wealthy New York family. Cover, amateur photographer. The Krogers are vital to Lonsdale's mission. From this house, Lonsdale's secret information is transmitted directly to KGB headquarters in Moscow. The Krogers also use rare books to conceal microdots that contain secret documents and photographs. The books are then sent to a network of KGB agents throughout Europe. Lonsdale depends on the Krogers' efficiency.
Он очень высоко ценил
He held both Helen and Peter in very high esteem. He saw them as his reliable assistants and used to say, "With them I feel perfectly secure."
But the security of the spy ring will soon be compromised. In his favorite taverns, Harry Houghton starts spending his money extravagantly, clearly more money than he earns at the naval base. He buys round after round of drinks for all his pals. The drinking is heavy. The talk is loose. He buys a new house and takes Ethel G. for romantic weekends at expensive hotels. Harry Houghton foolishly violates a sacred rule of espionage. Never attract attention to yourself. Scotland Yard's Special Branch is alerted by a naval security officer who has become suspicious. At the same time, a double agent working for the British tips off investigators that a KGB spy has infiltrated the Portland Naval Base. Starting in March 1960, Harry Houghton, the prime suspect, is placed under surveillance. Three months later, British agents get their first break. Here outside the old Vic Theater, they observe Houghton and G meeting a well-dressed, middle-aged man. Houghton casually hands a package to the man, who agents later identify as the Canadian businessman Gordon Lonsdale. Lonsdale is also put under surveillance. Near the Waterloo station, he is seen giving an envelope to Houghton at a telephone booth. Lonsdale then makes a call. Scotland Yard now installs taps on these telephones. For a while, the taps produce nothing of interest. Then investigators hear Houghton say, "No, Gordon, I won't be able to come today to get the money." Lonsdale and Houghton also meet in this pub where agents tracking them overhear their conversation. "You seem to have plenty in your briefcase," says Lonsdale. "I have more than my pajamas and razor," replies Houghton. They exchange briefcases. Investigators bug Lonsdale's apartment, which is now under 24-hour watch. Agents take the room next door and eavesdrop. they monitor and tape everything that is said in Lonsdale's flat. His business office is also put under careful surveillance, and the identity of all callers and visitors is investigated. Agents follow his every move. Again, General Dushtilev.
Полагаю, что да. Значит, он был в разработке примерно в течение полугода.
Lonsdale was being followed for about 6
И
months.
вот за эти полгода,
And during this time, counterintelligence was right behind him,
ведя наблюдение за ним,
observing him,
очень аккуратно, очень аккуратно,
following every
и
step
дать заподозрить,
very carefully so that he wouldn't suspect he was being watched.
Investigators must develop an airtight case. The surveillance continues. On October 24th, agents observe Lonsdale as he travels by train to Ruislip Manor Station. Then walks down this alley onto Cranley Drive. Enters a private house, number 45, and disappears behind the door. January 1961, the suspicious house on Cranley Drive is observed around the clock for 10 days. The connection between the inhabitants of the house, the Krogers, and Gordon Lonsdale, the suspected spy, is still a mystery. Authorities decide it is time to make their move. They stake out the next rendezvous between Lonsdale, Houghton, and G. This government film, using actors, recreates the arrest. 44 special agents converge on the area around Waterloo Station. Word is flashed that Houghton and G are approaching the area. Security agents wait along the Waterloo Road near the Old Vic Theater, the favorite rendezvous point of the spies. Lonsdale is sighted as he parks his car on a side street. Walking just ahead are Houghton and G. As the agents watch, Lonsdale greets them and takes the shopping basket from Ethel G. At this exact moment, security agents make their move. All three are arrested. In the shopping basket, agents discover classified naval documents and undeveloped photos of top-secret Admiralty fleet orders. Other secret documents relate to nuclear submarines and nuclear missile technology. Lonsdale, codenamed Ben, will miss his next meeting with his KGB contact.
Он арестован был в субботу.
Ben was arrested on a Saturday. We were supposed to have met that Sunday to discuss some matters important for him and headquarters. This meeting didn't take place. We reported that back to Moscow, but we were not alarmed.
A few hours later, agents converge on the house at 45 Cranley Drive. A ring at the door, answered pleasantly by an unsuspecting Peter Kroger. The Krogers are arrested and whisked off to Scotland Yard. They will be charged with espionage. The Krogers refuse to be fingerprinted. Scotland Yard obtains a court order and soon understands why. To the surprise of British intelligence, the Krogers are soon identified as Morris and Lona Cohen of New York City. They have been wanted by the FBI since 1951 as accomplices of the Rosenbergs, the American atom bomb spies executed in 1953. When agents investigate the contents of the Kroger spy house, they are astonished by what they find. A secret trap door hidden in the kitchen floor leads to a crawl space. The hideaway conceals a radio, powerful enough to transmit directly to Moscow. Common objects like these batteries contain important codes and instructions. Agents also discover equipment the Krogers use to manufacture microdots. A bottle of talcum powder, found in the bathroom, contains precision optical equipment used to read microdots. There is also $10,000 in cash and 8 passports hidden under the attic floor. March 13th, 1961. At London's Old Bailey Courthouse, all 5 spies are brought to trial. Ethel G. breaks down on the stand and admits guilt. Harry Houghton claims he was forced into spying. Despite the incriminating evidence, the Krogers maintain they are innocent. Lonsdale also pleads not guilty and refuses to testify at the trial. All 5 are convicted. The Krogers are sentenced to 20 years in prison. Houghton and G get 15 years each. Lonsdale, the ringleader, is sentenced to 25 years in prison, but he will serve only 3 years. On an early April morning in 1964, here on the Berlin-Hamburg highway, a spy trade takes place. The British exchange Gordon Lonsdale for the English spy Greville Wynne, who has been in prison in the Soviet Union. Only after his return to Moscow is Lonsdale's true identity revealed as KGB Colonel Conan Molody. He urges the KGB to make a deal to release the Krogers. In 1969, he gets his wish. The Krogers are exchanged for a British businessman who had been arrested as a spy by the KGB. They celebrate their release from prison as they travel to Moscow. Gordon Lonsdale dies in 1970 at the age of 48 after a prolonged drinking bout at a picnic on a hot summer's day. He is buried in a prestigious graveyard for master spies, a hero of the Soviet Union. Harry Houghton and Ethel G. finally get married after their release from prison in 1971. They disappear into obscurity. The Cohens, alias the Krogers, live out their years in a small apartment in Moscow, bewildered by the fate of the Soviet Union. They became traitors for a nation that no longer exists.